few things to start with before we jump into the video. First one being, I ordinarily try to get at least 2 videos up a week, so you guys are probably, it's going to be a photo finish on this one. I've been a little busy with adulting in terms of, you know, getting some stuff done, and I forgot to schedule one this week, so here I am recording it on Wednesday, but hey, better late than never, right? Other thing is I discovered some more pre-bank games that I forgot to upload, so we're going to see pre-bank for a little bit while I build up some more post-bank games, and believe it, I do have some good post-bank games, but I figured I'd get these off my plate, since it'll probably coast us through the rest of February, and then I'll probably start uploading bank games in March or something like that, maybe. I'm not sure what the, probably mid-February, I don't know. Anyways, to move on to my opponent's team, which was a passerby that I had on livestream, I am not liking the Toxapex, Celesteela, Lightning Rod, Alola, Marowak combo. The only thing that can really potently bust through it is probably a good Dark type, which Honchkrow kind of is, but Sucker Punch kind of limits it to only being able to be that potent when it's being attacked. Outside of that, you know, if Eelektross had knockoff, if it was post-bank, that would have been fantastic in that scenario as well. Even if it had Volt Switch, that would have made for, you know, decent pivot potential there, but that one doesn't have Volt Switch. It's just straight up an all-out offensive one without any kind of pivot utility in there at all, so probably my mistake for running T-Bolt instead of Volt Switch, but you guys will see when that comes into play, and I guess why it comes into play overall? I don't know. We're jumping into it, and I decide, you know what, I'm going to lead Metagross, and I'm just going to Zen Headbutt. I don't give a shit. And I really wish I had gotten a flinch here, or something like that, or gotten more damage. I feel like I deserve it on Toxapex, because Toxapex is freaking scum. But goes for the Toxic Spikes. Questionable play since I still have a Roserade, you know, it being the first turn of the game at all, and I'm actually just going to go into that immediately. Just straight up showing her, hey, you know what, this is kind of pointless for you to keep doing this. And she actually ends up making the double out into her Celesteela to try to take the Zen Headbutt. I'm kind of okay with this as long as I can hit my Sleep Powder. I don't have Leech Seed on this Roserade. I think I have Sleep Powder 3 attacks, so I can't really do much to her entire team while Alola and Marowak is still around, and while Celesteela, well, I can Hidden Power Fire Celesteela, and I can Leaf Storm the Toxapex technically, but I can't really do shit to Alola and Marowak, and I'm assuming more than likely it's special defensive, just based on the fact, you know, if she keeps up with content and is decent enough to build a good team like this. It certainly gave me a lot of trouble, and there's definitely a moment in there that kind of leads you to believe that she has a good team and just really doesn't give a shit about the rules whatsoever. But for now, I actually decided to coax the double into the what is it? I go into Honchkrow, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and go for the sub as she decides to go back into her Celesteela. While it's still asleep, I figure, you know what, I'm going to see how much Brave Bird's doing, and I want to set up for an opportunity to be able to Z Mirror move in case she decides to go for Flamethrower instead of Heavy Slam when she wakes up. Not that she really has much of a reason to, but if I Z Mirror moved Flamethrower, that would have been absolutely perfect. But honestly, you know, Leech Seed Protect, Heavy Slam, Flamethrower, she probably would have protected on an S turn to scout to see what I was going to do, / get some lefties back. So ultimately pointless. I just like being able to Z Mirror move successfully and get a Z move off of it as opposed to just the attack boost, because my Honchkrow is not here just to Swords Dance. It's here to Swords Dance and do a cool move. So right here, I'm not sure. I sped this part up a little bit. I really don't think it's ultimately sped up that much. But honestly, I don't really have much else to talk about, because if I just fly through it, I guess we're gonna kind of maybe miss important bits. Truthfully, we're not, because it's just me chipping away at this. She's essentially trading health. She's siphoning health off of her Celesteela as I Brave Bird, or attempt to Brave Bird the Toxapex, and she's just going back and forth to get Regenerator health on her Toxapex, or potentially I think she was trying to dodge Sucker Punches as well. It was kind of multi-purpose. I just really wanted to Sucker Punch the damn thing. But I try to Sucker Punch again right there, and she just recovers. We're just like, okay, she knows exactly what Sucker Punch does, and she's just going to stay in here and try to do it again. If I did Brave Birded that second time instead, or if I did just Z-moved, oh my, if I did just Supersonic Sky Strike instead of trying to go for the Z-Mirror move, after that first switch in, I would have felt a lot better about that. But instead, I take a shit ton of recoil, and she goes for Toxic Spikes again when I still have Roserade. I don't have any objection switching in Roserade at any point in time. On top of that, I have Honchkrow, I have Metagross, which isn't affected by it. I have Kamala, which isn't affected by it. Or, no, wait, is that this game? I think I might be looking at the wrong game in preview. Sike, I don't have... No, wait, I do have Kamala. Sike, I definitely did. And then I have Electros, which has Levitate, too. I think the only thing that... I've only got one thing that's affected by Toxic Spikes on this team, and it's Tapu Lele. So everything else, it's kind of a pointless thing to, I guess, just try to go for. Especially because, you know, all she ended up doing was just taking damage. But, I mean, she's got Regenerator, so I guess ball's in her court on that one. Do whatever you want to. I think it's kind of pointless because I'm not bringing in Lele until I see Dragonite, period. Or until this asshole's gone. But I think I decided to pop the Z move right now. And, you know, kind of hoping that she would stay in so I could just end up going for a... what is that? The drill breaker. I forget specifically what it's like. Corkscrew Crash, I think. But I just get my +2, and I'm just gonna go for a Brave Bird. I don't know whether or not a +2 Brave Bird does more than a Supersonic Sky Strike, but Brave Bird essentially just eliminates all of the progress that she made with Regenerator and Recover. But at least I got some chip off on Celesteela, at least, and I kind of got that reset going. And I ultimately get switched, but to be honest, Honchkrow didn't really do too much here, which is really unfortunate. On top of that, I really just bring in Roserade just to absorb the Toxic Spikes, just to let her know, hey, you know what, now you really are back to square one. And I think right here I ended up going for a Sleep Powder and missing. It made sense to go for Sleep Powder there. Nothing was asleep. And having one of the three assholes, either the Celesteela, the Toxapex, or the Marowak, put to sleep would have been fantastic. And she's just going to go for a Protect to get some more HP back, which is... She does not hesitate to do this, and I get its utility. It really sucks watching Honchkrow's progress just chip away. And look at that. It's already back to green from the multiple Brave Birds I went for. And here I thought she was going to go back into Toxapex. So I think I kind of played myself here, especially because she was doing that before. She was switching it in to try to get Regenerator HP on it. So I ended up taking a huge chunk from Flamethrower. I think she would have been able to knock me out with Heavy Slam, honestly. I think she just went for super effective damage as opposed to, you know, actually check the damage, because Roserade is a pretty light mon, and Celesteela is freaking heavy. On top of that, my base defense is much lower than my base special defense, I guess, in comparison. Also in comparison to what your physical stab is, or what your physical attack is as opposed to your special attack on the other mon, the Heavy Slam being stab and the Flamethrower not being stab. So a bit of a weird play there, but it doesn't really matter because I still didn't hit my goddamn Sleep Powder. I missed 2 in a row. Really unfortunate. I would have loved to have this thing asleep again. On top of that, it does get a special defense boost off of this. I decided at this point, you know what, I need to scare this thing away. I can't have it have the special defense boost, which is why I bring in my Electros right now, and I actually predict the switch to a Alolan Marowak in a second here, and I believe I end up going for the Acid Spray, because I don't think that thing's staying in to take a hit whatsoever. So do I? Yes, I do. Okay, so Acid Spray, gonna lower the special defense by 2 stages. It does resist it because it is part Ghost, but honestly, I can't go for a T-Bolt here, and I can't, let me see, I'm trying to remember what else I think I had. No, I didn't have Giga Drain. She also spaces, I guess, and forgets that I have Levitate. Or maybe she's going just based off the bottom screen thing and hasn't fought one of these things before. I don't know. Either way, I get a, I guess, a somewhat considerable chunk off, considering it is -2. And this thing's going to come back in. Honestly, I'm fine playing this game. I'm just going to go for another Flamethrower. I was not about to go for another T-Bolt, given the fact that a Alolan Marowak was out there. But hey, I will also take this Flamethrower burn. Not that, you know, it justifies 2 Sleep Powders missing, because I still would have had my Roserade, but the leftovers is quickly becoming negated, and I guess I'm okay with that. I actually also don't think I've seen Leech Seed on this thing either, but the fact that it's not gaining HP anymore and I've actually done some decent damage to it is alright too. And then this just came out of nowhere. I was not expecting the Gengar to just immediately switch in cold. Bit odd, especially because now it's just traded off into red, and then on top of that it's Mega Gengar, so I'm like, oh well, I was not expecting to fight this on a fine passerby day, you know, but that is the risky run. You know, passerbys just don't necessarily play by any standard clauses that you yourself may associate with. They could just spam you with a Scarf Brayllium Spore the entire time if they wanted to. Or they could just bring whatever freaking unbalanced ass megas they want to. That's fine too, to them. For me, I'm not gonna bring it, but the fact of the matter is I still took it because I'm AV, and all I got away with is a little bit of poison, and that's fine. I got rid of a Mega Gengar, and I also I essentially crippled the Celesteela. So I've lost a little bit too many monsters to this defensive core, but we're finally making a little bit of progress. The Alolan Marowak being at about halfway, the Celesteela being basically on its last leg, and the Toxapex being, I believe, at about half or maybe a little bit lower than that. I forget how Regenerator works when it comes back in. Here, I thought for sure she was going to switch out, but I should have also taken a few turns into account when I realized that if she didn't know that Electros had Levitate, she probably wasn't going to know that Komala had Sucker Punch, or she wasn't going to suspect Earthquake off of a Komala. So I guess ultimately my bad, because now I have to U-turn into something to take a hit, and it turns out that she ends up going for Bonemerang. I'm not sure necessarily expecting what, or if she doesn't have Flare Blitz. I also find that a little bit odd too. But I'm just going to go for Zen Headbutt, and Mega Metagross is actually going to put in, make up for a lot of the turns that I lost trying to fight everything else pretty much. So I go ahead and hit the Primarina for a shit ton of damage, and I end up going for a Meteor Mash here. Admittedly, just to try to cheese and get the attack raise, but ultimately I think it does the exact same amount to Primarina that Zen Headbutt does. And I decide that I'm just going to go for another one. Again, I thought she was actually going to switch out to Toxapex here, which is why I switched it up. But now she goes into Toxapex, and this is the game that ultimately made me regret not having Earthquake over, I have Hammer Arm instead of Earthquake. And if I had Earthquake, I probably would have been able to knock it out from there and still keep it alive. But instead, I end up just trading Mega Metagross for a decent amount of damage on Primarina, and I believe I knocked out the Alolan Marowak as well. But as I mentioned before, I'm not bringing out Tapu Lele until Dragonite comes out, and I had a feeling that this is going to be the turn that Dragonite was going to come out, because she needs to pull some momentum at this point. And honestly, you know what? I do too. I think she has this, and she has Celesteela left, which I have not killed. And then I think she ends up going for a Fire Punch here, which ultimately a little bit pointless. It's not going to do that much. It's not boosted. It's not Weakness Policy or anything like that. If it was Weakness Policy, I think I probably would have lost there, since I'm pretty sure that would have just straight up... Oh, no, wait. When did we kill Celesteela? Or have we killed Celesteela? I don't think we've killed Celesteela yet. I don't think my preview window is displaying properly the amount of Mons. I have it tucked up in a corner under an overlay, so that's unfortunate. There it is. There's that fucking asshole. I knew it was still here. But we take out the Primarina, and then I believe we're going to be able to take this thing out with a Moonblast. I think this is a Specs one, so I'm not really scared of whether or not it's going to get leftovers and then lose those leftovers to burn. Maybe she just didn't know how that worked, or maybe she was just stuck on muscle memory based on the fact that, you know, I need more health, I'm going to immediately hit Protect and try to get some health back. But because burn is the same as lefties, it brings you back down now. And if anything, in previous gens, that would have been a way worse move. What the hell? That would have actually cost you more HP, and you just would have ended up dying. Maybe she thought that Psychic Terrain got or buffed Fairy moves as well. I'm not 100% what was going through her head there. But I think her Dragonite does happen to be her last one, and I'm actually able to squeak through that game, squeak through that game with the Specs Tapu Lele here, which is absolutely fantastic. Maybe it was Scarf, I don't know. I was some kind of choice item, and I just said Moonblast all the way, all day, every day. And that's how Tapu Lele works. And if you notice, yeah, you know what? I did have basically 5 out of 6 repeated Toxic Spikes. Pretty freaking awesome, right? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that game. If you did, you can leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that works. And you guys should expect a few more games in the near future. This is the first of 3. I think I edit in 3s now. That's the first one out of 3. So stay tuned for the next 2, and I'll catch you guys later.